Sasageyo Podcast. My name is Leah Byers.
I'm Tim Byers.
And today we're going over episode 24.
And 24. Sorry.
After this 25.
Yeah, after this 25. We're doing both episodes all in one sitting.
No, we're not.
Or, yeah, one sitting, not in one video.
Okay.
Gosh. And so we're excited, clearly. Because we're at each other's throats.
And we have AJ on the producer mic.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody.
And yeah, we're just excited. Leah has some very exciting information to share with you today. If you listen to, I think it was episode 23.
Whichever the Smile
22.
episode was.
Yes.
Wow, that is...
Which was 23.
Okay.
And that's we probably talked about it because of the dentist.
Any of you were wondering, because I know all of you guys were so curious about my
Who has better
dentist
teeth?
results. I did, in fact, win in this competition of who has the better teeth.
Yeah.
That we started against each other.
Mm-hmm.
Why'd we do that? I don't know. But, yeah, I went to the dentist. He did make a point that I need to come in again, but not for cavities. It's because my gums are not happy that I haven't been to the dentist in 10 years.
Yeah.
So
But you
he's
got
like-
an A.
So I literally said, how can I prevent this? And the dentist said, maybe come to the dentist more often. And I was like, yeah, no, that makes sense.
Your
That
dentist
tracks.
sounds snarky.
He kind of was. He was a little snarky.
He's
but, like,
funny.
He was funny. He was like a little sarcastic.
Yeah.
Because I like made a point about like, he was like saying my gums are swollen, and I like made a point of like the fact that I don't wear, this is, people don't care about this, but that I don't wear my retainer that much. When I do, it obviously hurts, and my gums get swollen from it because I'm moving my teeth like super aggressively with not wearing a retainer for like 2 weeks. And so I told him that, and he was just looking at me, and then he was just like, no. And I was like, and he was like, that's not it. And I was like, okay, I'm just telling you so you're
Oh my
aware.
God.
And I was like, okay. But I
That's
had
funny.
mentioned, he said, so you sent your husband in first to like test out the waters here because we've never been there before. And I was like, oh yeah. I was like, he didn't do too well. And he's like, I know, are you gonna be better? And I was like, yeah, I don't think I have cavities. And then the whole joke was, the whole thing throughout my whole time, an hour and a half of this dental cleaning was like, I beat Tim in this competition. And I asked if I could get him, record him saying that I won, which was a joke. Like, I wasn't actually going to do that. But then at the end, as I was walking out, he gave me a certificate that said Clean Teeth Award, Leah Byers. And I was like,
Wait,
heck
Like
yes.
with a little cartoon
It
teeth.
had a cartoon tooth, it had the date, it had his signature on it, and I was like, everyone was laughing in the office. It was funny. And I was like, I sent it to Tim. And I was like, did you get this? And he was like, what? No. And I was like, oh, weird. Weird, you didn't get this. It was literally the dentist just jumped on the joke with me, which was great.
Yeah.
So
Tim, we got to get you that award.
I'll work my way up there.
maybe when I go in again, I can get another.
2.
I'm gonna start framing them, and they're just gonna like slowly build up, just like on the wall in our room. All these dentist clean teeth awards.
Alright, are we done with this?
Tim's over it.
I'm bored of this
Okay, but one
opening.
thing was funny though. Tim went in, and he didn't realize when you get cavities, you have to get your it's filled.
Yeah.
You have to get your gums numbed, and he texted me in all caps. They're numbing me up. And I just was like, yep. And then he sent this hilarious video of him trying to talk with his mouth numb. We'll show you. It's
Oh, yeah,
so
I want to
Yeah.
see that.
It's literally
He
like
cannot speak.
from the handlebars down, like the handlebar mustache down, that was just all numb.
Wow.
So I would touch like my face, and no, we'll save it for later.
No, I can put the audio.
I literally just like couldn't, like my resting face was me sucking in my bottom lip because I couldn't.
No
tolerate
way,
where
what
it
the
was.
It
heck?
was like, I really couldn't do it. Wait, I want to hear the audio.
Trying my best to talk right now. My resting face right here. This is it.
couldn't.
He's like,
Oh
"I
my
can't speak,
God.
I can't speak."
Oh, poor Tim.
I was trying.
Is that your first time getting numb?
No, but it was because I called my sister right after because she took a photo of me the last time I got numbed, and I was like smiling, but I looked like in pain because my muscles weren't working. But no, but what's always annoying is they ask you a crap ton of questions after you get numbed, and it's like
Yeah, he's trying to
I
talk to
can't
the ladies.
speak. She's like, how would you like to pay for this today? Like credit or debit? I'm like, do you take credit card? Like, and she's like, yeah, we take credit card. I'm like, is it charge a fee? She's like, no. I was like, okay. I just like couldn't speak. I was like, stop. Like just like
Stop
write it out.
asking
Like let me write
questions.
like write it out. I was
You
really.
didn't talk.
I was like had my hand over my mouth because I didn't know what was happening. I couldn't feel it. So I was like, is my tongue like falling out? Like
Tongue's just out.
yeah. So
So funny. Yeah.
anyways,
Anyway, I bet
Leah
people just
can-
skipped all the way through that.
Leah can now
But-
audition to be the smiling Titan because she has
Clean
clean
teeth.
teeth.
Well, hey, let me say, all those Titans, they'd get an A+. They get a
Mm.
Clean Teeth Award.
Yeah. They be getting that toothpick. They're like Carla.
Carla, with some bones.
Yeah, with some her leftover bones. Anyways,
Okay.
episode
Yeah,
24.
let's get into it. Second to last
Compassion.
episode of season 1,
Mm-hmm.
leading in to season 2.
Right where we started off, right? We were talking about cliffhangers, which I realized some people don't like cliffhangers, which kind of makes sense.
Well, it's not fun when you're watching it in real time and you have to wait for
Yeah.
it to come out the next week.
Yeah,
Like, I don't care about cliffhangers if I can watch the next thing
right.
right
yeah.
away. But
Well, we pick up where we left off. Annie's transforming. Eren is horrified. And Ervin, you kind of start to get a little teaser into the episode of the flashback that comes up as Ervin saying that they have a working theory of who the female Titan is, kind of the backstory to the plan. We get the incredible one of two more times that we will hear it on this podcast, Flugel der Freiheit. Flugel der Freiheit. See,
that's not.
that is good.
Stop.
And scene. So after that, we get into the flashback, and so we have Levi and Eren are sitting at a table. Levi's just kind of making small talk. It's funny. Okay, what are you gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say, immediately when he was talking, I was like, this is the most I feel like I've heard him speak.
Oh,
And
really?
then that's exactly what Eren
He's like, you're
says.
very talkative today.
He said this is, yeah.
Well, it's funny because in the subbed and dubbed, okay, I don't remember what he says in the dubbed version. Like, why is Eren taking so long? Like, he's probably, doing whatever. In the subbed and dubbed versions, he says, like, I'm so, like, what's taking Eren so long? He's probably taking the longest of his life.
Yeah, he
Sorry,
does say that.
explicit. He does say it. But, yeah. So it's just as funny, or, like, I think he said, hopefully he's not facing constipation again.
Yeah, something along
Yeah,
those
and I was
lines.
like, that's okay. I was like, what's up? I feel like that's
So
the
random.
second time he said that, like with Hanji. He was like, were you taking a
Yeah,
big
what's up
big
with
old
Levi
dump?
saying
And then
this
she's
stuff?
like, yes, and it was nice. And then like keeps going, and it's like, what the heck is
Is this
Levi
Levi's
and,
weird comeback?
pooping? Yeah, that's his zinger. So Eren kind of then like apologizes that he didn't make the proper judgment call, and Levi kind of is like, don't, no one's expecting you to be a skilled tactician of this, so like no one holds you at fault. At which point Ervin arrives with Armin and Mikasa and John, right? And so then that's when they kind of start talking about, we have a working theory of who the female Titan is. They are located in the military police at this point. Armin presented this theory to Ervin. Long story short, basically it's someone in the 104th Cadet crew that was one of your classmates, and they go by Annie Leonhardt.
He does take a while to
Yeah,
say who it is.
I
And you're just
definitely
like,
summarized
who is it?
that.
Who is it? And then Ervin says, you trained with her. and Eren's like, you can't be serious, I trained with her. And in my head, I'm like, put it together, Eren.
Yeah.
Put, like,
Everyone knows.
everyone knows. I mean, Armin's the one who put it together. But, like, okay, think about it. I don't know. I'm sitting there like, Eren, come on, figure it out.
Yeah.
Do it. Okay, and then...
I think kind of what's interesting too about it is in the manga, he's not much like that. He's kind of more optimistic. He's like, oh, we figured out who this is? Great. I thought we were screwed. Like, if we know who the female Titan is, this is great. And he, like, looks over at Armin and Mikasa and is, like, excited. And they don't look excited.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, okay, like, why aren't we excited about this? And so I think that that's just, I mean, in general, read your books, kids. These are better, I would say.
Okay. Well,
That's
I
that.
don't know if that's better. That exact thing. It's just a difference.
It's straight from Ereben's perspective.
Ereben's? Oh.
This is like a little inside joke, because we always say that Ereben is like the author of the story, but it's actually Hajime Isayama.
I feel like I'm not in this.
Well, you didn't laugh! You gotta laugh, and that tells me you get the joke.
Okay, then did we cut to...
We cut back to, yeah, like what just happened.
Yeah, literally
Yeah.
right after she turns into a Titan.
People
They're
are
running
dead
away.
already.
And then
Eren's still just like...
What do we do? And
Yeah,
they
Mikasa's
run-
literally pulling in.
Yeah, I know. And we come up to two other guys who were in there. Oh, what happened? Is Plan A still going on? Are we switching to Plan B or whatever? And then
Stomped. She
Stomped.
ground pounded like Mario through the floor of bricks onto a Goomba. They are the Goombas. Annie is Mario.
Two Goombas, two at once.
Yeah.
And
400 points. Something.
and then I don't know if I'm missing parts in between there. So what happens after that?
I mean, well, before that, I mean, Armin just beating himself up, and Mikasa's like,
Oh, yeah,
talk
as
about
they're
that
running.
later. Those people get squished, and so then they back him. They're like, shoot, we're cornered. Armin's kind of realizing like she's backed into a corner and is like getting desperate. She's just
Yeah.
stomping, regardless of if Eren is gonna be squashed under this rubble or not.
Yeah.
She is not gonna like lose.
And then we move to Plan B, which is Eren taking on Titan.
And so he's like, I'm gonna protect you guys. Get around me, just like I stopped that cannonball. Get around me right now. And then they're like,
I know
okay,
what to do.
don't
I'll
worry.
change.
I'm gonna bite my hand right here. I go, and it like makes this tearing sound. I'm like, stop,
Yeah.
stop it. Nobody
You
wants
chomp it.
this.
Be-
That's also the other plus side of the manga. You just read the sound effects. It's like tisk
Chomp.
tisk tisk chomp. Literally
Does it say
chomp.
Oh no way.
Literally
Tisk,
chomp.
chomp.
Yeah. And
And
so-
then yeah, and he just he's gushing blood from biting himself.
yeah,
So weird. And
it's not working.
then we have an interesting thing happen.
What with Mikasa?
Mikasa, yeah, she like gets real serious and she's like, "What's going on, Eren? You aren't having any doubts, are you?"
And Eren's just like, am I?
and
Break out of it, cadet.
and she's like, she's a murderer. Period. She's the female Titan.
You think
She's
this is
not-
all
it doesn't
part of your
matter that she's-
imagination?
Yeah, it doesn't matter that she's Annie. She's the one killing everyone. And is this the moment where she asks the questions like, you don't have? Or is that at the
So
end?
that is maybe that is a little bit later, like a
Yes.
minute later, but she does basically kind of in the same dialogue areas like, do you have special feelings for her? Like, what's your hesitation? And he's like, just shut up, I'm trying to do it, okay?
Which is like an interesting moment. You're like, wait, what? Wait, does Eren like Annie? Is he crushing on Annie?
Yeah.
And Mikasa is looking at him, kind of wanting him to say no. I feel
She
like.
she looks angry.
Yeah, she's like.
Say it.
Say it.
It's like Edward in Twilight. Say it out loud.
Out loud. That's the meme you gotta do.
Yeah.
That's a meme
say
right
it.
there. Then we cut to flashback.
Okay, yeah, flashback. Eren can't believe that it's Annie. Armin explains
He's the one who figured it out.
his interaction on the field, that she responded to the nickname Suicidal Maniac. that when she also believes that she killed Sonny and Beans because she had Marco's equipment.
And you see when they're laying out their equipment to be checked if it was used, Armin looking at hers.
Yeah.
And then Eren says, maybe you need to get your eyes checked. What the heck? Why would
Yeah.
he say that? He literally says,
You know.
maybe you need to get your eyes checked. Everyone's
Yeah.
like,
They do have these
are
cool
you a
moments
child?
of when, because Eren keeps pushing back, and so it's funny in the manga the way this scene is phrased is Levi's like, so do we have any actual proof? And then it's
No,
like,
that's what it says also in the dubbed.
well, yeah, but wait,
Okay.
um,
There's more.
there is more. He's like, do we have any actual evidence? And then Annie or Armin and Mikasa are just like sitting there, and they're like, well, yeah. And then Mikasa's like, well, to me, the female Titan's face looked like Annie's, and like and then Levi just like sits there and he's like, seriously. And then Eren gets mad, so it kind of has a little bit more of a comedic timing to it, as opposed to that just kind of seems like she's saying it out of like anger.
Yeah. Yeah, they are like,
yeah.
well, she kind of looks like the female Titan.
So that was,
Think
like, a
about
funny
it.
Part
And then that
kinda
makes the
got missed.
audience feel dumb. Because if you didn't get that it was Annie the whole time,
Yeah,
you're like, oh my gosh, she
they
does
do
look
look
like,
a lot alike.
duh.
Well, and this is when they do the cool parts of like, it's, you know,
Shows her
Mikasa
fighting.
asks, did you fought her hand-to-hand combat, did you notice any similar techniques? And they kind of have like a
Side by side.
side by side of them fighting, or on top of
Yeah.
whatever.
Flashing over.
And then he's like, you're right. And
Literally
then that's when
this-
it cuts back to the reality.
And the same exact. Like, oh, did you notice the fighting or what the technique? And it's like literally the same thing.
Yeah. And so
He's
that's
like, oh, duh.
so that's when they're back into their normal moment under the in the tunnel, and
Yes,
so
and
she's
that's
like,
when Mikasa says, unless there's something deeper keeping you from
yeah.
from
In the subbed and dubbed they say, doesn't that mean you have to fight the female Titan, or is it that you have some sort of special feelings that you're holding back on? Like outright says it. None of this gray area.
This love triangle
Yeah.
while they're about to fight as titans.
I know, and it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's all unsaid. It's all
All
unspoken.
unsaid. Then Armin gets cool and
Mysterious.
comes up with the plan. Mikasa, you go that way. I'll go that way. Whichever way she doesn't attack on Eren, you go out that way. And he's like, what? In dubbed, it's dumb because he's like, I'm not worth it. I'm like, don't
I'm not
fight.
worth
Like,
it.
I'm not worth it. But in this, he asks, like, how are you able to fight? Which kind of puts a different perspective of, like, she was our comrade. How are you able to just fight her?
Well,
As opposed to like,
yeah.
I'm not worth it. Like, shut
and
up.
in the dubbed, but in the dubbed, Mikasa says, what choice do we have? The world is a cruel place.
Right. And they say that in all three versions. So that's how you know
Well, and
this
that's,
could not be missed.
isn't that that was what she said, the
Right.
pomegranates.
With the
right?
pomegranate. Maybe that's why.
What if there's like, we missed it, but there's like a pomegranate like rolling
No.
during this?
Okay.
Crazy.
First difference
Okay.
for the manga. So
This moment.
Mikasa goes that way. Armin goes that way. She says it's a cruel place. Eren looks down and says,
This is in the manga.
this is in the manga. He
Okay.
said, yeah, it is. Chomps his hand, turns into a titan, and immediately starts fighting the female titan. Like,
Whoa.
he appears through the ground with an uppercut. Mario style round 2.
A lot of
Bonus
Mario
1,000
here.
points.
Oh.
And just, they start fighting. Like, that's where it begins. That does not have, the dub
That
and
is
sub
a
adds a whole
lot.
other half to this episode to really milk it. Get to
Yes.
that 25th minute
Yeah.
of the episode.
Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah,
That's like completely. Well, there. I guess
it
there's
accelerates the
there's a
plot.
lot of character development and him
Yeah,
like, deciding to
which
turn all these things.
yeah, I don't know. I kind of like how this does it more.
I feel like you're always gonna like the manga more.
I don't know. Will I?
Oh.
Probably. I feel like this is gospel. You know,
Yeah.
this is the Bible of Attack on Titan.
Yes. Exactly.
What makes you feel like the manga does it better than
That's
the
what I'm
dub?
trying to think.
Well, it just feels like it's what it was supposed to be, and the series changed.
Yeah.
Is it just the pacing of that specific scene?
I think so. There's a couple other things. I mean, with just like even how they deliver it, sometimes like the Marco death reveal, like
Yeah.
that hit harder in the
with
manga,
Yeah.
over the anime.
Yeah, that was cool.
So, and I hear that I mean, obviously, I'm sure it's gonna happen in the rest of the series, but I do know that like, especially in the final season, the way that the manga presents some like plot elements is way different than the anime.
That's going to be very interesting when we
Yeah.
get into that.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, so what actually happens during that scene in the dubbed and subbed is the ceiling crashes down,
Mhm.
which literally right as Mikasa and Armin leave.
Yeah, I'm like,
It's like,
fail.
so he was in the exact spot where she was gonna stomp. And then they end up, Mikasa and Armin end up going different directions, coming
Mhm.
kind of around her. And suddenly Armin is just extremely skilled. Never seen this type of skill before. She grabs him and he slices through her hand. And
Yeah.
I'm like, what? I feel like this is the most action I've seen Armin in before.
hmm
And then, because she stomped on Eren's like in the rubble of that, and he's been like completely stabbed through his body.
And is he alive? We don't know because infograph. 200,000 people live in the capital city within Wall Sina. Only those with special privileges or related to the royal family can live there. The special service in Scout or Garrison can reward you residency in the like inner walls if you have like a good merit. And it is the only way for the poor to achieve peace and safety.
Was there another one?
That's it. But one thing that was extremely funny in the dubbed, so as Mikasa is fighting and like, I think it's like she goes down slicing.
This is during when her and Armin are fighting.
Her and Annie are fighting.
Oh, her
Yeah.
and Armin are fighting Annie. Yes.
Yes. Mikasa is like sliding down with her blade, like sliding down Annie's arm. And it literally says in the dubbed Mikasa power scream. Because she's like, "Ah!" And it says Mikasa power scream. Like if you look at the subtitles, like if you're watching it with subtitles but dubbed,
There's a lot of screaming.
it says Mikasa power scream. And I
next two
thought,
episodes.
I mean, it was significant
That's
enough
funny.
that I wrote it down.
Mikasa power scream.
So more soldiers are starting to engage. Niall tells Marlowe's group, right, Marlowe and Hitch, who we met last episode, to go check it out. All this stuff with Erwin and Niall doesn't happen in the manga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
It skips over it, which I'm like, thank goodness.
Well, it kind of shows like a contrast between.
I guess
the
that is
battle
true.
And like the reality of what's happening.
Of other people. Yeah, that is true.
The
I think
division
now that you say
between
that.
the actual people, the leaders.
Right. Well, especially because I don't know if it gets to it right now. Well, Erwin says Titans are here. We must engage. Jean emerges as Eren's, stunt double, and he reports to Erwin and goes helps out. Which Jean also is not really in this last scene of the rest of the series, kind of, in the manga. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah, like I'll even.
But he
Yeah.
ends up,
Well, because especially John, since
Yes,
Eren doesn't get under any rubble, he doesn't have that whole scene with Armin where he's like, "We gotta,
the
pull
whole
yourself
speech
to,
with,
yeah,
where
what
they're
did you
trying to
live
get
for?" Yeah, like that doesn't happen.
Oh,
But Niall holds Erwin at gunpoint and is like, I am well within my right to.
how
to
dare
kill.
you?
How dare you, Erwin?
No, I'm talking about Niall.
Oh, how dare you,
How
Niall?
dare he do that to Erwin?
Yeah, don't put that barrel away.
You are.
Niall, more like he's in the Nile. Come on, you had to see that coming. You had to see that coming. People are panicking. It's funny because Jean is like running past all these MPs who are just standing there like, "Good."
Yeah,
And then
like,
he's
"They
like,
got
"Do you
it."
think I could have ever been one of those?
Yeah.
I would have sold my left arm for them."
Oh yeah, and then one of them's like, oh, so that's what they look like. Like,
Yeah.
where have you been?
Come on, man. This is episode
In the-
24. You
in
should
the
know what they
inner
look
city.
like.
There is one the part where Niall is holding the gun up against Erebin, you kind of see Levi in the back, and he's like dressed in
Kind of-
normal clothes.
yeah.
He's kind of got some swagger, like he has like the coat over his shoulders, and he's
Yeah.
like holding
He
it,
looks
and
like
he
a
looks
rich
so
man.
cool. He
'Cause
looks like
he's
a
got
rich guy.
He's got a broken ankle.
But you really see how short he is.
Yeah.
In this scene, like, he's so short.
So the scouts, they're doing all these cool trips. So the soldiers are like, engage, like we don't have to kill her, but we gotta stop her. They like do this whole flippy. Do you see? They like are flying through the air and grab onto each other's hands and do like a spin and then catapult the other
I
person
didn't see
back.
that, but that's sick.
It's
wait,
cool,
yes,
you
I
gotta
think
go
they
back,
did,
yeah. I'm like, first of all, the physics of that. Wouldn't they have gotten tangled in each other's ODM lines? But like, cool. So, anyways, they go. Mikasa is cutting her Achilles.
Oh yeah, right
because-
in the Achilles.
She can't get back down, or
Okay,
she
one thing is-
can't get knocked down.
Okay, one thing, this is kind of before the infographic,
Mm.
maybe or right after, is the fact that she's trying to find Eren, and Annie stomps him, Mikasa and Armin are coming around Annie, all this stuff, and then Armin finds Eren, and he's like screaming, Eren! Eren! Freaking I'm like, why are you screaming his name when Annie's right there?
Yeah.
And what does she do? Turn around and see where he is.
Yeah.
I'm like, Armin.
Armin is book
Come on.
smart, but maybe he ain't street smart.
He's street smart. Okay, so then,
Jean joins Armin,
yes.
and they're trying to save Eren. John is
John
mad
starts-
at Eren.
He starts yelling at Eren's unconscious body.
You have to rise up to our hopes.
Eren's just
If
literally
not, what
laying
was-
face down.
What did Marco die
This
for?
is one of the funny,
And-
like, this
And
is one
Eren's
of
just
the,
like,
before this episode, I said, I feel like there's a little bit of comedy, and I feel like this is for some reason funny to me because Eren's literally face down, unconscious. John is like doing this whole speech for him.
but he wakes up.
Yeah.
'Cause he hears Marco's
just, like,
name.
It just like shows Eren, he's just face down.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then he says, "Is this what Marco?" And then he gets kind
And-
of cut off.
Right, because the female Titan causes an explosion that makes Eren get crushed by even more debris. And so they're like, this is no use, we gotta just go fight her. So then, and then Armin has this whole speech about, the whole, like, he's like, what I just told Jean about how you have to abandon your humanity. Because that's what Annie's doing.
The quote is, "To rise above monsters, we have to abandon our humanity."
And that's what Annie's has done, and what we fight, we have to become. You need to match her heartlessness to win. And Subbed basically says it in a less cool way. They're just like, oh, like, you gotta be mean to the mean. Like, I don't know. It was something that, like, I was like, yeah, that's what the dubbed did better.
Yeah.
One of the few things I feel.
Yeah, and then we jump to Hanji
Yeah.
being a little crackhead.
Waiting to pull a trigger, waiting to pull that trigger, and so it works as the female Titan comes because Johnny Boy and Army Boy are lowering the female Titan to this trap. They do the more porcupine traps and it works, but this time they got a nail blanket.
Yeah, I was gonna say they got a
They got a
blanket,
heavy weighted blanket.
but not the kind that helps you sleep.
Yeah, the kind that hurts.
Gang that hurts.
So Hanji applauds herself for having a plan C. Then she starts to go a bit psycho, and she's like,
Crazy
"You can't
eyes.
call Titans to devour you, but I'm gonna devour any info that you can gather." That's something I would say.
That is something you would say.
That is something I would say. Like, sure, you don't have Titans coming to devour you, but I sure as heck am gonna devour every info out of your body, your muscle, but in the dub, she's like, just like you read a flank steak, like what?
What?
In dubbed, didn't you hear that? She's like, just as a butcher like reads a flank steak from like a cut thigh, like I'm gonna tear you apart
What
again.
the heck?
Literally, like I'm not.
Hanji is like you. The things
She's
she
crazy.
says.
So she gets psycho. Annie, understandably so, breaks free, but there's not enough traps.
She kick swings.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people, and that's a lot of deaths. But we're gonna talk about the death count in this episode because, let me say, there's a lot.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get all. I don't think I got all.
And I guess then it goes work to say that this doesn't even happen in the manga. This whole planned
Well,
scene.
Eren-
Does it? I kind of feel like.
Okay, you can
I
look
don't think
through.
it does.
We're cutting to Eren under the rubble,
Right.
who's having his moment. You know, Eren, he loves to have his moments, and he takes it to another level. He starts to rise up, but
Through the wood pillar that's like nearly
literally
skewering his heart.
skewering himself more, and he's like trying to get up. And yeah, he's got this like psycho noises going on, and then
Well, because he starts remember. Well, Armin's speech about what is it in order to the humanity you got
rise above
rise above monsters, you have to be a monster.
something
Um,
along that line.
He's like, I know that because the Levi squad died, and then he remembers his mom, and then that's his trigger, and then that's when he gets mad. He's like, I'm gonna kill them all.
This is like
The classic, every last one of them, I'm gonna kill them. And dude, episode 25, like, if you've just,
buckle up.
especially if you've already seen the whole series, watch episode 25 because he says some things that are questionable.
Okay, interesting. We'll talk about it.
Talk about that next episode.
And then so Eren flips out.
Now he's
Flashback.
mad.
He is ignited, and I wrote, "Woo, this is gonna be crazy." That's
Yeah.
what I wrote in my notes. And then actually there's all this cutscene of like windows breaking and all this stuff, and then there's like a random one of his cat.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
just
yeah.
contemplating life,
I
just like
put that.
literally in a little when
It's
cats.
like next to a pool of blood, too. And
Oh,
he's just,
really?
yeah,
He's just looking.
There's-
He's like
sleeping.
contemplating.
he's sleeping.
It's just
Um,
living life.
But through that, he does make, in this speech, he does say, I'm trying to remember which one was which. He does say, I think in subbed, that it's not about what's right anymore or who's wrong. I just need to act. The world is a cruel place, which kind of synchronizes with what Mikasa said. So in some ways, like, that's cool that they lined that up in the anime. In the dubbed, yeah, he says, consequences be damned. I just need to kill. Which, sus. That's a little serial killer verbiage right there. So, that's a little sus. So anyways, but yeah, then he transforms, and then comes the little stomparoonie. Peep the little cat. I literally put peep little cat. And then Eren arrives and punches her in the face into the Superdome.
The Superdome.
To be continued. That's it.
Doug Dimmadome.
Doug Dimmadome from the
Owner of
Walshina Digstale Dimmadome.
No.
From the Attack on Titan Digstale Dimmadome.
Doug Dimmadome.
Yeah.
Owner of the Dimstale Dimmadome. Is that what it is?
Doug
Yeah.
Dimmadome.
Hey, that's
it?
it. That's it.
Dimsdale?
Dimsdale.
Dimsdale?
Dimsdale.
Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dimsdale Dimmadome.
Iconic.
Dimsdale Dimmadome. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, that's it. That's the
is
end of the episode.
episode 24. And I have our death count and our Mikasa saying Eren count, but I need some opinions for
Yeah.
what we can do for this. So, I have 5 for sure. We saw
What, kills?
kills, but plus the guys that were around Annie who tackled her right
Oh,
before she
yeah, no,
transformed.
that counts for this one.
So how many would that be?
Are we assuming they all died?
They for sure.
Then 9.
9 plus 5.
Sure.
Okay.
I would count those people.
In general, a lot more people than 14 died in this episode.
But I have more.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry.
Yes. Plus the people who were near the traps when she kicked them. Like, broke
Oh,
the
okay.
traps. How many would that be? Like
Let's
10?
say a healthy 30.
What?
No, let's say 10. Let's
I'm
just say
just
10.
gonna say 10 to
make it even.
Yeah. So now we're at 24.
24 deaths.
And there's probably
There was
even way
definitely
more,
more.
especially
We're on the low
like
end.
all the civilians.
Yes.
They're down, but we don't see them.
Yes.
So
And then
24.
Mikasa's saying, Eren, I got 4. Did you get 3?
probably 4. That
Okay,
sounds about
I
right.
got 4.
Also, subbed sometimes like doubles the amount of times she says Eren.
Really?
I didn't. I
I'm not
just
doing
kind
this
of
stuff.
kept it with dubbed. Huh? Yeah.
I said I'm not gonna do
But
this.
in case like you're watching on your own and you're like, she says it way more, we're going based off dubbed primarily.
Yeah.
But yeah, literally in that last episode, well, I'll just say it's literally I think like 2 or 3 times the amount that
Dang,
I
that's crazy.
initially recorded. Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, that is that. For those of you who have not seen to the end,
The whole
this
series.
is where you probably want to log off.
But we have multiple different resources to see everything besides Apple Podcasts or
Yes.
Spotify Podcasts. We have an Instagram, we have a TikTok,
Mhm.
Sasageyo Podcast, and we also have YouTube if you want to watch
Us
To
make
see
funny
our-
faces.
to see our faces.
Sometimes we do that. I do that.
Yeah, you for sure do.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's YouTube, and then we also have started a Discord,
Yes.
and people, it's popping.
Yeah.
We have people that are really engaging and giving us just stuff to talk about. whether
Things
it's
to
even
consider.
Other anime stuff, which I don't know if anyone said anything about this episode.
But we have like a current episode channel, an AOT spoilers, which that's like a free range. But the current episode ones, I mean, that's where we always will, anything that we're at right now, like the current episode is fair game. And so then we have like other like anime stuff, and people have asked like for recommendations, and everyone shares. They show some of their own art. Sometimes we just talked about Deadpool. Just watch that.
Oh yeah.
That was
We'll
good.
talk about that next
Yeah.
episode.
So, anyways, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next episode, but we're gonna head into our spoiler section now. So, yes, thank you for listening. Anyways, spoilers. I feel like this episode, next episode, Eren says a lot of things about, like, this. I feel like this is just the whole concept. Sorry for that. Just the whole concept of Eren needing to learn to be heartless and to be a monster so that he can match the monsters is just further evidence of like what he does in the last season, you know, of just like killing everyone.
Yeah.
And you know, in the next episode he talks about like he's judging Annie, like what do you fight for that's worth all these deaths. And it's also kind of like, well, I mean, ultimately we find out what he fights for. It's his friends, and like that justifies the 80% of the world that he kills. Which sure, but yeah, I don't know. Like I feel like a lot of that, like this time around, this is the first time I've watched season 1 since seeing the full series, and so it's these little things I'm like, oh, like yeah, that's like a little foreshadowing for
I
later.
feel like you see so much more, and
Mhm.
like, oh, you're like, this makes sense.
Yeah.
And are we gonna talk about the Berserk Titan?
We'll talk about that next episode.
Next? Okay.
Yeah.
Which is for everyone, right?
Right, especially because the Berserk Titan doesn't even happen in the manga.
Dang.
Yeah, like the whole catching on fire and
Yeah,
glowing
like
red
glowing
and blue
veins.
eyes, like that doesn't even happen in the manga. So that was just pure fan service.
Yeah, people created that
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah, I was waiting for it. I was like, what are they gonna do? What are they? And it wasn't there. It was already in like season 2.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
that's it for today's episode. Or spoilers, right?
Yeah, do you have anything else that you kind of... Yeah. I mean, it is interesting, like, the idea of, did Eren like Annie? Like, why was it so hard for him to believe?
Well, even if it, I feel like it doesn't even have to do with like having like romantic
You
feelings.
just
where it's
respect
like,
her?
Well, they like train to get together. I feel like he'd do that for anyone he trained.
But he doesn't really do that with, like, Reiner. He, like, gets instantly mad with Reiner and, like, transforms. Like there's
But I
isn't
think the fighting combat stuff. I think he was partnered up with Annie, which makes it a little bit more personal
Also,
and like like a little bit more intimate. Because it's like when you're
Yeah.
training combat with somebody, especially like close quarter combat with somebody, you get to really like spend a lot of time with that person, get to know them a lot. I'm sure it had an impact.
But
yeah.
also, I think maybe it makes sense that he was more mad at Reiner and Bertold because, like, they were, like, real friends and, like, considered them, like, his best friends.
Mm-hmm.
And Annie was his partner, but also, like, she's very mysterious, and I really doubt that she, like, opened up to him.
Well, but in the manga, they do have a scene where they like are casually chatting and like
Okay.
joking around and like fighting too. A little
And
flirtatious.
this is also his first time finding out that
So someone
somebody
is
is
a spy.
a spy and then has the power to become a Titan.
Yeah.
So this is just new information to him.
It's a lot of confusion.
It's a lot of confusion, yeah, because
Whereas,
they didn't even know that this was possible.
yeah,
Right.
now they're like, there are people
Well-
against us, and then there's like,
Oh, they're actually
Reiner
my
and
friends.
Bertold who
Yeah.
like have been doing it even longer and like have been tricking them. It just feels worse.
Yeah.
Since you-
I mean, I guess in that instance, if you're coming from a perspective of like, this female Titan is a stranger, like, heck yeah, like, I don't care who she is, like, I'm gonna kill her. But then if you're going with that mantra and it's like, oh wait, actually, it's like someone I was very close with, like that. Yeah, that would be.
It also, this is the first time that it's like they discover enemies that are not the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's somebody else out there that is after us that has a motive that is not a Titan, where their only motive is to just kill us just for fun.
Yeah.
It's like now there's somebody out there who has a motive,
Yeah.
that has a reason, that could possibly be working with other people.
Yeah, like, are there other people? Like, where did you come from?
Right? There's just so many questions I'm sure that's going through his mind. What did you say?
She said, "Where'd you come from?" And I said, "Where'd you go?"
Oh my
like,
god!
but it just like it's sorry. It came out. It sounded.
He's like, now where'd you go?
I tried.
Didn't mean to.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
no, that makes sense.
Mhm.
Okay, well, I mean, season 2 is gonna
Shoot, well here we
we're
go.
gonna learn some
Dude.
stuff.
Here we go.
Next, like the manga doesn't even finish season 1. They literally hop right into
Season 2. Or
yeah.
finish it how
Well,
we
like,
end it.
yeah. They just like literally
and you know
go
the title of the first episode of season 2?
Beast Titans.
Beast Titan.
Dude, season 2 is where it starts to go brazy, as AJ likes to say.
Crazy.
Brazy.
Bro, I love season 2.
Season 2 is so
Okay, I'm
good.
so-
I love
Buckle up,
season 2.
everyone. Okay, thank you for listening to this episode. Thanks for
Uh-huh.
coming into the spoilers for if you've watched to the very end. Stay tuned for next week's final episode of season
25.
1. And then we go into season 2.
Yeah,
Yeehaw. Oh, wait, we're going to do a recap
we'll
too.
probably do a
We're
recap
going to
of
recap all the deaths, all the Mikasa saying Eren's,
favorite
all
moments.
favorite moments, favorite whatever, favorite deaths. That sounds weird.
But like worst death.
Worst deaths.
Worst death.
That's how you should say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway.
Best death would imply like they went easy.
Yes. Okay, sure.
Like the guy who got like curb stomped by the female Titan. Like he's
Yeah.
instantly dead.
You think that's easy though?
But that's like instant.
Okay, yeah, that's
You
true.
know, like
It's
there's
a quick death.
Yeah.
Quick death.
for sure worst. Well,
No,
we'll save it. We'll
no,
save it.
We'll save it,
I'm
we'll
trying,
save it,
I'm
save
trying
it,
to
save it.
think of now. I need to think of it.
Yeah.
Think of it.
Okay, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for listening.
Peace out.
Sasageyo.
Sasageyo.